Sweet Baby Inc. and similar narrative consultation companies are a blight on the video game industry, and almost every single game they touch dies. And now another failure has happened because the Hyperlight Breaker developer has laid off their staff ahead of the game's early access release. Now, I say this with every single project. There are always bound to be some people affiliated with a game or a company that are genuinely good people. I bet this team had a few good people that were a part of it who just wanted to break into the gaming industry, who were passionate about making products that are really good. But I can't say I feel all that bad when activists are losing their jobs, and now Heart Machine, the developer behind the upcoming Hyper Light Breaker game, which was worked on by Sweet Baby Inc., announced it is already laying off staff before the game releases to early access on Steam. This is a game that they've been talking about for years. I don't know how it has not already released in totality, never mind an early access period, but a report from Games Industry revealed the company dismissed a portion of its workforce, although it is unclear which departments this has affected. So they're not talking in exact numbers, and they are not actually giving us a lot of information, probably because this team wasn't big to begin with. So if they only had like a couple dozen people and they got rid of, say, 2 dozen, well, then it's going to sound like, oh my gosh, 40% of the workforce laid off, and that doesn't sound very good for them. But Hyper Light Breaker was actually one of the games that Embracer retained after it sold off Gearbox to Take-Two Interactive. Back at the end of March. So it seemed like this was a game that they had a lot of confidence in. Like, why would you go out of your way to make sure that you retain this? So it seems that they were hoping it was going to turn out well, maybe not some massive $100 million earner by any means, but they still thought that it was going to be at least successful. The game has also been added to the Sweet Baby Inc. Detected Steam Curator group, given Sweet Baby Inc. revealed it had worked on the game in regards to world building, story structure, and character development. So basically, across the board, they have affected this game in major ways. We have a problem right now in the industry where there are tons of journalists and also people that work at these companies saying, oh, this group, Sweet Baby, they're small, right? They don't affect games a lot. But when you hear a company is changing world building, the story structure, and character development, those are some of the most integral parts to a video game experience. The only thing that they didn't affect was actual gameplay, but that's because they're not actually video game developers. They don't know how to make a game. They do not know how to actually create something that people would want. And sure, maybe the gameplay here will be absolutely phenomenal, but when I'm hearing that they've affected every portion of the narrative side of this game, it just raises the red flags. So it is expected to go into early access on Steam sometime in 2025, and this game has been in development for quite a few years at this point. Of course, again, I'm sure that it is a smaller team, and I love seeing indies succeed, but I can't say I feel all that bad for this group having what's most likely going to be a massive fail under their belt because they decided to work with SBI in the first place. It's like people ask me all the time, do I think that the woke virus is going to go away anytime soon, especially in games? And sure, I do think that eventually it will fade away, but not anytime soon, just because games take years and years and years and years to develop, from the time that they greenlight it to the time that it actually fully releases. And there are tons of games that are in the work right now that have been for a decade. Look at something like Dragon Age the Veilguard. That took a decade for them to create. So there are games right now that are in the works that won't be released for several years. Look at Star Wars Eclipse. That we got a first teaser for in 2021, and it's not supposed to come out till 2028. And that's beside the fact that we heard at the beginning of the year that they had to get rid of a bunch of people from that project because they just were not liking the direction that the game was heading in. So, I do think eventually the sweet babies won't be able to really affect video games anymore, but not anytime soon, though we just had heard about Reflector beginning mass layoffs after Unknown Nine Awakening, another sweet baby ink game, completely and utterly failed. Companies need to start listening to what customers want. They need to start making high quality products and they'd be able to make money. But time and time again, they're more worried about chasing ESG dollars and implementing diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives and policies, and it's not turning out well for them. So, of course, I will be keeping my eye on Hyper Light Breaker. Maybe this will come out and it'll be a fantastic experience. Maybe this will be the Sweet Baby Ink game to prove us all wrong that Sweet Baby Ink titles can release and they can be high quality. And maybe it won't face any other controversy, but I highly doubt it, and we're already hearing that this developer is laying off staff. But that's all that I had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.